The accident happened on a Tuesday. Dr. Eric Mason had been working late in his lab at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he hadn't noticed. He was too focused on the strange readings from his quantum field generator. "This can't be right," Eric muttered as he adjusted his glasses. The numbers on his screen made no sense. According to the sensors, the small metal ball in his test chamber had somehow moved 15 feet, while also staying exactly where it was. Eric ran the test again. Same result. He checked his equipment, then ran it a third time. The ball was both, here and there at once. It wasn't teleportation. It wasn't a glitch. Space itself was folding. By morning, Eric had called in his whole team. Dr. Karen Williams, the best quantum physicist in the country, arrived first. Her eyes widened as she reviewed the data. "Eric, do you know what this means?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "I think so," he replied, "but I'm afraid to say it out loud." Karen had no such fear. "You found a way to fold dimensional space. This changes everything, literally everything." Within 6 months, NASA had redirected billions of dollars to what they now called the Dimensional Folding Project. President Garcia had been briefed, and then the other world leaders. For once, countries set aside their differences. This was too big for political games. On a cool morning in April 2048, the first test vessel designed to use dimensional folding technology waited on the launch pad. The USS Horizon wasn't particularly large or impressive looking. It resembled a normal space shuttle with some strange additions, rings of metal that circled the ship from nose to tail. Captain Lisa Blackwell walked across the tarmac with Eric and Karen beside her. All three wore the new dark blue uniforms of the Earth Space Command. "Are you sure this will work?" Lisa asked. She was tall with short blonde hair and eyes that missed nothing. She had been the top pilot in the Air Force before being selected for this mission. "The math checks out," Karen said. "The small-scale tests all worked perfectly. In theory, the Horizon should be able to fold space around itself and cross the 4.3 light-years to Alpha Centauri in about 3 hours. Lisa nodded. "In theory." The launch went smoothly. The Horizon reached orbit, and the crew of 7 prepared for humanity's first dimensional jump. "Dimensional fold generators at full power," reported Jack Simmons, the chief engineer. "Navigation locked on target star system," said Lieutenant Maria Gonzalez. Captain Blackwell took a deep breath. "Initiate dimensional fold." For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the stars outside the viewport appeared to stretch. The ship shuddered slightly. There was no great sensation of speed, just a strange feeling like the universe itself was moving around them. "Status report," Lisa called. "All systems normal," Jack replied. "The fold is stable. We're doing it, Captain. We're folding space." The journey that should have taken thousands of years at conventional speeds took exactly 2 hours and 57 minutes. The Horizon emerged in the Alpha Centauri system, making humanity an interstellar species. The return trip was even faster. When the Horizon landed back on Earth, the crew was greeted as heroes. News networks worldwide broadcasted images of humans setting foot on the surface of an alien planet. Scientists pored over the data and samples they had collected. No one expected what happened 3 days later. Eric was in his lab examining some unusual crystals from Alpha Centauri when his computer screen suddenly went blank. Then strange symbols appeared, geometric shapes that shifted and moved in patterns. "Karen, are you seeing this?" he called across the lab. Before she could answer, the symbols rearranged themselves into English letters. "Attention, Earth vessels. You have been detected using dimensional folding technology. Please stand by for diplomatic contact." The message repeated in several Earth languages. Within hours, similar messages appeared on screens around the world. President Garcia called an emergency meeting. Military forces went on high alert. Scientists frantically analyzed the message, trying to determine its origin. 2 days later, they got their answer. A massive ship appeared in orbit around Earth. It dwarfed the International Space Station, stretching nearly 2 miles from end to end. Its surface shimmered with an iridescent material unknown to Earth science. "My God," whispered Admiral Paul Winters as he stared at the images from Earth's orbital telescopes. "What do we do now?" The alien vessel sent another message, this time with visual components. A being appeared on screens worldwide. It had blue-gray skin, 4 arms, and large eyes that blinked sideways. "People of Earth," it said in slightly accented English, "I am Ambassador Zakthar of the Galactic Council. We come in peace and with great interest. Your recent use of dimensional folding technology has drawn our attention. We request permission to send representatives to discuss this remarkable achievement." President Garcia, after consulting with world leaders, granted permission. The landing site was prepared in a large field outside of Geneva, Switzerland. 17 different alien species disembarked from the shuttle that descended from the main ship. Some walked on legs, others floated, and a few moved on tentacles, or other appendages. Ambassador Zikathar led them. Dr. Eric Mason, Dr. Karen Williams, Captain Lisa Blackwell, and several world leaders greeted the aliens. Media from around the globe broadcast the historic first contact. "We are astonished," Zikathar said once formal greetings were exchanged. "In 12,000 years of Galactic Council history, dimensional folding has been theorized but never successfully implemented. Yet your species, barely starting its journey to the stars, has accomplished what our greatest minds could not." Eric looked confused. "You mean, you don't have this technology?" Another alien stepped forward. This one resembled a tall, thin, human but with skin that shifted colors like an octopus. "I am Chief Scientist Nara of the Eldari. We have faster-than-light travel, yes, but it still takes our fastest ships months to cross distances your vessel traversed in hours." President Garcia's translator whispered in her ear, and she nodded before speaking. "We are prepared to discuss peaceful cooperation and exchange of knowledge." Zikathar's 4 hands made a gesture that the humans would later learn signified deep respect. "The Council eagerly accepts. We have much to offer Earth in terms of knowledge and technology. But in return, we humbly request that humanity share its understanding of dimensional folding." As the diplomatic talks began in Geneva, ships from more Council races arrived in Earth orbit. The news spread across the galaxy. Humans had achieved what was thought impossible, and now, the balance of power in the Galactic Council was about to change forever. The news spread quickly across Earth. Humans were not alone in the universe, and even more surprisingly, they had developed technology that the advanced alien species did not have. People reacted with a mix of fear, excitement, and pride. A week after first contact, the Galactic Council set up a temporary embassy in Geneva. Scientists from 17 alien species met with Earth's top minds. Dr. Eric Mason and Dr. Karen Williams led the human team. "Please explain again how you discovered dimensional folding," asked Nara, the blue-skinned Eldari scientist. Her translator, Device, hummed softly as she spoke. Eric sighed. This was the 5th time he had explained it today. "It was an accident. I was running tests on quantum field interactions when I noticed the anomaly. The test object existed in 2 places at once, because space itself folded between those points. An accident," repeated Ambassador Zakathar, blinking his large sideways eyes. "Our scientists have tried for thousands of years to achieve what you discovered by chance." Karen stepped in. "Not entirely by chance. We've been working on quantum physics for decades. The math was there, we just needed to see it from a different angle." The alien scientists exchanged looks that even humans could recognize as disbelief. One of them, a small reptilian being named Vexcor, tapped his clawed fingers on the table. "Our records show your species only discovered basic spaceflight less than a century ago. How did you advance so quickly?" "We're curious," Karen said, with a smile. "And sometimes a bit reckless." While the scientists talked, Captain Lisa Blackwell was giving Council engineers a tour of the USS Horizon. The aliens studied every inch of the ship, especially the dimensional fold generators that circled its hull. "The energy requirements must be enormous," said a 6-limbed engineer named Triz. Actually, that's another surprise, Lisa explained. The fold itself requires relatively little power once initiated. It's maintaining stability that's energy-intensive. A tall, armor-clad alien stepped forward. Unlike the others, he had declined to use a translator device, instead speaking through an aide. This was General Kex Vorn of the Vorn Imperium, one of the more militaristic council species. What prevents the fold from collapsing and destroying the vessel? The aide translated. Lisa hesitated before answering. We use dimensional stabilizers controlled by our navigation system. The general's eyes narrowed as he received the translation. He spoke again, his voice harsh. He asked if you could use this technology as a weapon, the aide said. Before Lisa could respond, Ambassador Zikathar entered the hangar. General Kex Vorn, such questions violate diplomatic protocol. The humans have invited us here in good faith. The general made a dismissive gesture and walked away. Lisa noticed how the other aliens seemed uncomfortable around him. Later that day, President Garcia met with the council representatives in the newly established diplomatic chamber. Security was tight, with both human guards and alien peacekeepers present. The council formally requests that Earth share its dimensional folding technology, Ambassador Zekathar announced. In exchange, we offer our knowledge databases containing scientific discoveries from thousands of worlds and billions of years of combined history, the human delegates whispered among themselves. Admiral Paul Winters, Earth's military representative, leaned toward the president. We should be cautious, Madam President. This technology gives us an advantage. President Garcia nodded slightly. Ambassador Zekathar, while we're open to cooperation, we must consider the implications carefully. Sharing such technology requires trust. Of course, the ambassador replied. Trust must be earned. Perhaps we can demonstrate our good faith. The next day, the council provided Earth with medical technology that cured 3 previously incurable human diseases. They also shared star charts covering half the galaxy and introduced humans to 20 edible plant species that could grow in desert conditions. Dr. Eric Mason was invited aboard the council ship Eternal Unity to observe their own faster-than-light technology. Security Chief Jack Simmons accompanied him. Their FTL drives are impressive, Jack said as they toured the massive engine room, but they're still moving through normal space, just very quickly. Nothing like our dimensional folding. Eric nodded. They can travel at 500 times light speed, but that still means years to cross the galaxy. We could do it in days. As they walked back to their shuttle, Eric noticed several aliens watching them intently. One was recording their movements with a small device. I think we're being studied, Eric whispered. Not just studied, Jack replied quietly. Some of these species are afraid of us. Meanwhile, on Earth, Karen was examining the Council's scientific database they had shared as a gesture of goodwill. She was amazed by their knowledge but also noticed something interesting. They've been trying to solve dimensional folding for thousands of years, she told her assistant. But they approached it all wrong. They were trying to force space to bend using enormous energy. We instead found the natural folding points that already exist in the quantum fabric. News channels worldwide debated whether Earth should share its technology. Some argued that humanity could use this advantage to secure a powerful position in galactic politics. Others worried about military applications if the technology fell into the wrong hands. At the United Nations, representatives from Earth's nations argued passionately. The Council observed these open debates with fascination. Most Council species had unified planetary governments, and the idea of nations competing, while also cooperating, was strange to them. Ambassador Olivia Rodriguez was chosen to represent Earth in the ongoing negotiations. She had spent her career in international diplomacy and was known for her sharp mind and calm demeanor. We need to learn more about the Council before making any decisions, she told the president. 17 species working together sounds impressive, but I see tensions between them, especially this Vorn Imperium. Indeed, Council Intelligence Officer Drentok had been quietly investigating human history. The slender, gray-skinned alien had accessed Earth's public records and was disturbed by what he found. Their history is filled with warfare, Drentok reported to Ambassador Zekathar. They fought thousands of wars among themselves, Some involved weapons of mass destruction, and now they possess dimensional folding technology. Zakthar considered this information carefully. Yet they united quickly when presented with the opportunity for space exploration, and they welcomed us peacefully. For now, Drentok replied. But what happens if they decide to use this technology to expand aggressively? The Vorn are already concerned. The Vorn are always concerned, Zekathar said dismissively. But we must proceed with caution. If humans truly master dimensional folding, the balance of power in the galaxy will shift dramatically. As the second week of diplomatic exchanges ended, both sides prepared for more formal negotiations. Humanity stood at a crossroads, suddenly, thrust onto the galactic stage with a technological advantage no one had expected. And not everyone in the Galactic Council was happy about it. 1 month after first contact, Earth sent its diplomatic team to Sanctora, the Galactic Council's central world. Ambassador Olivia Rodriguez led the mission, with Dr. Eric Mason, Dr. Karen Williams, and Security Chief Jack Simmons joining her. They traveled on a Council transport ship since the USS Horizon needed to remain on Earth for further study and protection. The journey took 3 weeks using the Council's standard faster-than-light technology. During this time, the humans learned more about the 17 Council species and their complex political structure. The Council has existed for 12,000 years, explained Ambassador Zakthar as their ship cruised through space. Some member species joined recently, while others are founding members. And where do the Vorn fit in? Asked Olivia, thinking. Of the intimidating General Kex Vorn died as Kathar's skin changed to a darker blue, which the humans had learned indicated concern. The Vorn Imperium joined 2,000 years ago. They control 32 star systems and possess the Council's largest military fleet. They are difficult allies at times. Jack leaned forward. Why are they so interested in our dimensional folding technology? The Vorn believe in strength above all, replied Zakthar. Your technology would give whoever controls it a tremendous, strategic advantage. Sanctora was unlike anything the humans had imagined. The planet was covered with massive cities that stretched from pole to pole. Buildings rose miles into the sky, and flying vehicles moved in orderly patterns between them. The Council headquarters stood at the center of the largest city, a towering structure made from a crystal-like material that changed colors with the light. As the humans were escorted to their quarters, Eric whispered to Karen, "Their technology is amazing, but did you notice they still don't have anything close to dimensional folding? Even their planet-side transport systems use conventional physics." Karen nodded. "And their quantum computers are less advanced than ours in some ways. They took a different technological path." The next day, formal negotiations began. The massive Council chamber held representatives from all 17 species. The human team sat at a special table in the center, feeling small but determined. "We welcome our guests from Earth," announced the Council leader, a tall being with silver skin, named Zorix. "This historic meeting will determine how humanity joins the galactic community and how we might share in their remarkable breakthrough." Ambassador Rodriguez presented Earth's initial proposal. "We are willing to share certain applications of dimensional folding technology for peaceful purposes such as transportation and communication. However, we propose a phased approach with proper safeguards." Murmurs spread through the chamber. General Kexvorn stood up abruptly. "Unacceptable," his translator boomed. "Technology should be shared completely or not at all. The Vorn Imperium insists on full disclosure." Other council members disagreed. The debate lasted hours, with various factions arguing for different approaches. Some supported Earth's cautious proposal, while others sided with the Vorn. Meanwhile, Jack noticed something concerning. "Someone's trying to access our secure tablets," he whispered to Eric. "They're looking for the dimensional folding specifications." That evening, in their private quarters, the human team discussed their suspicions. "I don't trust the Vorn," Jack said bluntly. "And I think they might have allies among other council species." Olivia nodded. "I've noticed the divisions. Not everyone here gets along as well as they pretend." "Should we return to Earth?" asked Karen. "Not yet," Eric replied. "Remember, Even if they somehow stole our technical plans, they would still need to understand the underlying dimensional mathematics. And that knowledge is still safe on Earth. Unknown to the humans, Council Intelligence Officer Dren Tak was conducting his own investigation. He had been quietly studying human history, culture, and behavior since first contact. His findings troubled him deeply. Humans adapt incredibly quickly, he reported to a private session of the Council Security Committee. They've survived multiple, near-extinction events on their planet. They've fought countless wars yet managed to establish peace among their nations when necessary. And now they've mastered dimensional folding technology through an accident that they immediately understood and exploited. "What are you suggesting?" asked a council member. Dren Tak's expression was grave. "I believe humans may be more dangerous than we initially thought, not because they are hostile, but because they evolve and adapt faster than any species we've encountered. If they choose to expand rapidly using their technology," General Kexavorn interrupted, "then we should secure this technology for ourselves, before they become a threat." Back on Earth, testing continued on the dimensional folding technology. Captain Lisa Blackwell was overseeing the construction of a second ship, the USS Discovery, when Chief Engineer Maria Gonzalez made a disturbing discovery. "Captain, I found something strange in the backup systems," Maria said, pointing to her computer screen. "Someone tampered with the dimensional stabilizer designs. If we had built it according to these modified plans, the fold would have collapsed catastrophically." Lisa's eyes widened. "Sabotage? When did this happen?" "During the Council's tour of the horizon. I've checked the security footage. Someone accessed our systems briefly when the delegation was in engineering section. Lisa immediately contacted Admiral Winters, who ordered increased security around all dimensional folding research facilities. He also sent an encrypted message to Jack Simmons on Sanctora. The next day, as negotiations continued, Jack pulled Eric and Olivia aside during a break. "We have a problem," he said quietly. "Someone tried to sabotage our technology back home, and I just decoded a message suggesting the Vorn may be planning something more direct." Olivia's face hardened. "We need to speak with Ambassador Zikathar immediately." When confronted privately, Zikathar seemed genuinely shocked. The Council would never authorize such actions, but the Vorn operate with considerable independence. "Then perhaps we should reconsider our presence here," Olivia said, firmly. "Please." Zikathar's four hands made an urgent gesture. "Don't leave yet. The majority of the Council truly wants peaceful cooperation. If the Vorn are acting independently, the Council needs to know." That night, Eric couldn't sleep. He paced, in his quarters thinking about everything that had happened since his accidental discovery. A soft chime indicated someone at his door. It was Nara, the Eldari scientist. "Dr. Mason, I need to speak with you urgently. I have information about Vorn activities that you must know." As she entered, neither of them noticed the small drone hovering outside the window, recording their conversation. In the shadows of Sanctora's endless cityscape, forces were moving that would soon push humans and the Galactic Council to the brink of conflict. Nara's blue skin was paler than usual as she entered Eric's quarters. She looked over her shoulder nervously before speaking. "The Vorn are planning to take your technology by force," she whispered. "They have already sent ships toward your solar system." Eric felt his heart race. "How do you know this?" "I overheard General Kexvorn speaking with his officers. They do not believe humans should control such powerful technology. They think your species is too unpredictable, too dangerous." Eric immediately called the rest of the human team. Within minutes, Olivia, Karen, and Jack had gathered in his room. "If this is true, we need to warn Earth immediately," Olivia said. Jack tried to send an emergency message but found their communications blocked. "Our systems are being jammed. We can't reach Earth from here." Karen looked at Nara. "Can you help us get a message out?" The alien scientist hesitated, then nodded. "I can try, but we must be careful. The Vorn have allies in the Council. While they worked on finding a way to communicate with Earth, trouble was already beginning back home." Admiral Paul Winters was in the command center near the Dimensional Folding Research Facility when alarms began blaring. The radar operator shouted, "Sir, we have multiple unidentified vessels entering the solar system. They're not responding to hails." On the main screen, 7 large ships appeared, moving quickly toward Earth. They didn't match any known Council vessel designs. "Battle stations," ordered Admiral Winters. "Alert all defense forces worldwide." Captain Lisa Blackwell rushed to the USS Horizon. "Prepare for emergency launch," she told her crew. "We may be the only ship that can match their speed." The attack began suddenly. The unknown ships fired energy weapons at Earth's satellite network, disabling communications and defense systems. Then they targeted the main dimensional folding research facilities around the planet. In Geneva, scientists ran for safety as explosions rocked the building. Fire and smoke filled the laboratories where the dimensional folding equipment was housed. Admiral Winters watched in horror as 3 more facilities were hit simultaneously. "They're targeting our dimensional folding technology," he realized. "This isn't random. They know exactly where to strike." The USS Horizon launched amid chaos. As the ship cleared Earth's atmosphere, Lisa saw the enemy vessels clearly for the first time. Their design was unlike the Council ship she had seen before, more angular and clearly built for warfare. "Those aren't official Council ships," her navigator said, "but the energy signatures match Vorn technology." Lisa made a quick decision. "We can't fight 7 warships, but we can use our advantage, dimensional folding. Plot a fold to the dark side of the moon. We'll hide there and observe." Back on Sanctora, news of the attack reached the Council chambers. Outrage spread among many of the representatives. Ambassador Zakathar confronted General Kexvorn directly. "You have violated Council law." Zakathar's voice boomed across the chamber. "Attacking a newly contacted species is forbidden." Kexvorn stood tall, unashamed. "The Vorn Imperium acts to protect galactic security. Humans cannot be trusted with dimensional folding technology. They are too young, too aggressive." The Council erupted into chaos. Some species supported the Vorn's actions while others condemned them. Eric watched in disbelief. "We need to get back to Earth," he told Olivia. "Our people need us." Nara approached them with a small communication device. "I've managed to bypass the jamming signal. You can send one short message." Jack took the device and quickly typed a warning to Earth about the Vorn attack. He added information about the ship's weaknesses that he had learned during their time on Sanctora. On Earth, the situation grew desperate. The Vorn ships landed troops near the damaged research facilities. Soldiers in advanced armor began collecting equipment and data storage devices. Admiral Winters coordinated Earth's defense forces, but they were outmatched by the Vorn's advanced weapons. Still, human soldiers fought bravely, slowing the Vorn advance wherever possible. "We can't let them take the dimensional folding research," the Admiral told his officers. "Activate Protocol Omega." Protocol Omega was the emergency plan to destroy all dimensional folding data rather than let it fall into hostile hands. Scientists around the world began deleting files and destroying equipment, but the Vorn had planned carefully. Their troops targeted the main data centers, capturing key components and research before they could be destroyed. In orbit, Captain Lisa Blackwell received Jack's message from Sanctora. "The Vorn are acting without Council approval," she told her crew. "And Jack says their ships have a weakness in their engine shielding." Lisa developed a bold plan. The USS Horizon would use its dimensional folding ability to appear suddenly near each Vorn ship, fire at their vulnerable engines, then fold away before they could respond. "It's risky," her weapons officer warned. "If our timing is off by even a second, they could hit us." "It's our only advantage," Lisa replied. "Prepare the first jump." The plan worked better than expected. The Horizon appeared and disappeared so quickly that the Vorn ships could barely target it. With precision strikes, Lisa's crew disabled 3 enemy vessels in rapid succession. On Sanctora, the Council finally took action. They voted to condemn the Vorn attack and ordered all Council ships in the sector to assist Earth. Council leader Zorix personally addressed the human delegation. "We are deeply sorry for this violation of our most sacred principles." The Vorn will be held accountable. General Kexa Vorn stormed out of the council chamber, followed by his officers. Before leaving, he turned to Eric. This is not over, human. Your technology is too dangerous to exist. Despite the council's decision, Eric worried they wouldn't reach Earth in time. He pulled Karen aside. The Vorn already have pieces of our technology. If they figure out even part of the dimensional mathematics Karen's eyes widened. They could create an unstable fold. The results would be catastrophic. On Earth, the battle continued. The disabled Vorn ships retreated, but the 4 remaining vessels pressed their attack. They focused on the USS Horizon, realizing it was their most dangerous opponent. Admiral Winters received reports that the Vorn had captured significant data and equipment. They're pulling back their ground forces, an officer reported. They're returning to their ships with what they've stolen. Lisa saw the Vorn troops retreating with containers of equipment. They got what they came for, she told her crew grimly. Now we have to stop them from leaving with it. But before she could act, the remaining Vorn ships created a massive energy shield that the Horizon couldn't penetrate. Behind this shield, the Vorn forces escaped back to their vessels. As suddenly as they had arrived, the Vorn ships began to withdraw from Earth orbit. They accelerated quickly, heading out of the solar system. Admiral Winters watched them go. Should we pursue? Asked his second-in-command. We can't match their speed, the Admiral replied. Then he noticed something strange on the sensor readings. What is that energy pattern they're generating? Across the solar system, scientific instruments detected an unusual distortion in space. The Vorn ships were attempting something new and dangerous. Admiral Winters stared at the strange readings on the monitor. The Vorn ships were creating energy patterns unlike anything he had seen before. They're trying to use our technology, he said quietly. They're attempting a dimensional fold with incomplete knowledge. On the USS Horizon, Captain Lisa Blackwell received the same readings. She immediately understood the danger. They don't have the stabilizers right, she told her crew. If they attempt to fold without proper stabilization, it could tear a hole in space itself. Lisa ordered the Horizon to pursue the Vorn ships, pushing their engines to maximum speed. But the Vorn had already reached the edge of the solar system, where they activated their stolen dimensional folding equipment. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then space itself began to ripple around the Vorn ships. Stars appeared to stretch and distort. A bright flash of energy erupted and the ships vanished. Did they succeed? Asked Lisa's navigator. The answer came seconds later when alarms blared across every system on the Horizon. Massive energy readings appeared on their sensors, centered on the spot where the Vorn ships had disappeared. No, Lisa whispered. They failed, and it's worse than we imagined. Where the Vorn ships had been, space itself was now warping and tearing. The failed dimensional fold had created a spatial distortion that was growing larger by the minute. On Sanctora, the Galactic Council received emergency reports about the distortion. Scientists rushed to analyze the data. This spatial tear will continue to grow, explained a senior council scientist. It could eventually consume entire star systems. Eric and Karen exchanged worried glances. They understood the mathematics better than anyone. The tear is happening because they didn't account for the natural folding points in space, Karen explained to the council. They tried to force a fold using raw power. Can it be stopped? Asked Council Leader Zorix. Eric nodded slowly. Theoretically, yes. A properly executed dimensional fold near the tear could act as a counterbalance sealing the rift. But it would be incredibly dangerous. And only humans know how to properly execute such a fold, added Ambassador Zuckathar. All eyes in the council chamber turned to the human delegation. The same technology that the Vorn had tried to steal was now the only hope for stopping the disaster they had created. Back on Earth, Admiral Winters called an emergency meeting with the world's leaders. Reports showed the spatial tear was growing exponentially. It had already consumed the Vorn ships and would reach the nearest inhabited star system within days. We need to act, the Admiral said firmly. I propose sending the USS Horizon and our best scientists to attempt to seal the rift. That's a suicide mission, argued one official. The tear would destroy the ship before they could even get close. Dr. Maria Gonzalez, who had been analyzing the data, spoke up. Not if we modify the dimensional stabilizers. We could create a protective bubble around the ship, allowing it to get close enough to deploy a counterfold. The decision was made quickly. Earth would send help, not for the Vorn who had attacked them, but for the billions of innocent lives in the path of the growing spatial tear. Meanwhile, on Sanctora, the Council provided a high-speed transport to return Eric and Karen to Earth. They needed to join the mission. Their expertise was essential. The trip back to Earth took only 2 days with the Council's fastest ship. During the journey, Eric and Karen worked continuously, refining the mathematical models for the counterfold. The timing has to be perfect, Karen said as she examined her calculations. Too soon, and the counterfold won't seal the rift. Too late, and we'll be consumed by it. When they arrived on Earth, preparations for the mission were already underway. The USS Horizon had been fitted with enhanced shields and modified dimensional fold generators. Captain Lisa Blackwell greeted them at the space dock. Welcome back. I wish it were under better circumstances. How bad is it? Eric asked. Worse than we thought, Lisa replied grimly. The tear has already destroyed 2 uninhabited systems. The Council has begun evacuating the Proxima sector, but there are billions of people who won't get out in time. The modified Horizon launched within hours. Its crew included Lisa, Eric, Karen, and other top scientists. They knew the risks, but also understood that they were the only ones who could stop the disaster. As they approached the spatial tear, everyone fell silent. The view from the ship was both beautiful and terrifying. Space itself twisted and folded, with streaks of energy pulsing through the void. The remnants of the Vorn ships could be seen, frozen in the moment of their destruction. Dimensional stabilizers at maximum, reported the engineer. Shields holding. Lisa took a deep breath. Begin approach. The Horizon moved carefully toward the edge of the tear. Energy lashed out at the ship, making it shudder. Warning lights flashed across control panels. Shields at 60%, called out an officer. We're taking damage faster than expected. Karen worked frantically at her station, adjusting calculations. The tear is more complex than our models predicted. We need to get closer. How much closer? Lisa asked. Almost inside it, Karen replied quietly. Lisa nodded. She had known this might be a one-way mission. Take us in. The Horizon pushed forward, fighting against the forces trying to tear it apart. All around them, space itself was being ripped to shreds. Shields at 30%, the engineer reported. We can't take much more of this. We're in position, Karen announced. Initiating counterfold sequence. Eric's hands flew over the controls, inputting the final parameters. Counterfold in 3, 2, 1. The ship's dimensional fold generators powered up to maximum. Instead of folding space around the ship, they projected the fold outward, creating a perfectly balanced counter pattern to the tear. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the energy patterns began to change. The wild, chaotic forces of the tear started to align with the structured pattern of the counterfold. It's working, Eric shouted. The tear is beginning to seal. The ship shook violently as the energies around them shifted. Shields failing, warned the engineer. Structural integrity compromised. Hold together, Lisa whispered. Whether to her crew or her ship, no one knew. Slowly, the tear began to collapse in on itself. The counterfold was working, forcing the distorted space back into its proper shape. With a final flash of energy, the tear sealed completely, leaving only normal space behind. Inside the Horizon, emergency lights flashed as systems failed across the ship. But they were alive, and the mission was successful. As the damaged Horizon limped back toward Earth, they received thousands of messages from across the galaxy. The Council races had watched in awe as humans used the very technology the Vorn had tried to steal to save countless lives. 3 weeks later, in the Great Chamber on Sanctora, the Galactic Council held a historic session. The Vorn Imperium had been expelled from the Council for their actions. In their place, Earth was invited to become a full member. Ambassador Olivia Rodriguez accepted the honor on behalf of humanity. "We come to the stars not as conquerors, but as explorers and problem solvers," she told the assembled representatives. "We will share our dimensional folding technology with the Council, not because we are forced to, but because it is right." The terms of the technology sharing were strict but fair. Earth would lead the new Dimensional Folding Institute, where scientists from all Council races would work together to safely develop the technology for peaceful uses. As Eric watched the ceremony, Nara the Eldari scientist approached him. "Your species is remarkable," she said. "In just months you've gone from first contact to saving the galaxy." Eric smiled. "We had help, and this is just the beginning." Indeed it was. Humanity had found its place among the stars not through conquest or fear, but through innovation and courage. The dimensional folding technology that had once been an accident in a laboratory had changed the course of galactic history forever.